In this video, I'm going to share with you 5 mistakes you might be making with your online coaching process that is costing you clients. And make sure to stick around to the end because number 5 is probably the most common and the most important to fix. So as we get into this video, I want you to stop and consider that we're always talking about generating more leads, making more sales, attracting new people. But that's all kind of pointless if you're losing people on the back end of your business. So remember, the funnel goes like this: growing your audience, creating great content, booking sales calls in the DMs with those ideal clients you want to work with, getting them on the phone, and then selling them into your program. But if you want that to go full circle to result in referrals, retention, and get you some good word of mouth, get you some free marketing through brand awareness, you have to give a 5-star service. So the first mistake you might be making, let's take this one off the table. Let's make sure this isn't an issue for you. And the first one is not replying to your clients quickly enough. I typically recommend for the guys inside my program to aim for around 24 hours or less, and make this expectation really clear when you're onboarding people into your program. For example, when someone joins your program, they should be filling in some form of contract or agreement. This can be done using a type form. You can use some software where you get people like DocuSign or HelloSign, get people to sign to want to work with you. And when they do commit to working with you, you want to make it clear the expectation. Say to them to not expect replies from you on a weekend, and also to expect replies from you within 24 hours or less. That's a pretty good standard to go to. One thing that I see most online coaches do wrong is they forget to stipulate that if someone messages you on a Friday, that 24 hours technically kind of goes out the window for a bit, and it carries on over until Monday. So it's Monday to Friday is where your communication should be. And then making sure you're clear that if they message you on a Friday, to not expect a message from you at the weekends and to expect a message from you on the Monday. The reason why this is so much better, and to avoid any ambiguity between you and the client, is it just means that you are both going to be on the same page, and it means that there's a clear expectation. They're not expecting you to reply within the hour, even within 12 hours. Like you're going to be busy. As you start to build your business, if you're probably stuck maybe around 2K right now and you want to go to like 5 to 10, you've got to remember you're probably quite busy right now already. Maybe you still have some in-person clients. Maybe you're starting to get to sort of 10 to 20 clients online. And as you get more busy, you're just going to have to get even more shit hot with the way you communicate with your existing client base. So number 1, like I said, is not getting back to your clients quickly enough. And the way that you can do this is you can set up a system. So one of the best processes that we ever put in place, and I put in place for the guys inside FBC, is making sure that the first task they do every single morning is waking up and messaging back their clients. At least then, if shit hits the fan, let's say you have a bad day, you get injured, unwell, you're unhappy, something bad happens to you in the afternoon or the evening that puts you in a really shit mood, at least you've already replied and engaged with the clients that you already have. The second biggest mistake that might be costing you your online clients is you are over-promising and under-delivering. And this kind of crosses over from the sales process into the program. So I want to give you a recommendation when you're selling your program. I want you to understand that you want to keep a few things in your locker. For example, when you're selling your program, you're saying to somebody questions like, what do you need from me? What do you feel like is missing right now? Why do you think you're not able to achieve your goals on their own? Only sell to people the stuff that they say they want, and leave some stuff in your locker. For example, unless someone comes crying to you saying, oh my gosh, the reason why I'm not where I want to be right now is because I don't get to go to quarterly live events, or I don't get weekly group calls with the other guys and girls that I'm working with, or I don't have a place to go on a weekly basis. Unless they come to you asking for these things, try and save a few of the bonuses of your program as a bonus for your program when they join. For example, let's say they join your program and in their head, all they're expecting is a workout plan, a nutrition plan, and all they're expecting is like a weekly check-in. But when they join your program, they get added to a community. They get invited like to a quarterly live event. They get an opportunity to come to a photo shoot. They get an opportunity to jump on a weekly call with the other guys and girls inside your program. Just imagine the psychology of somebody coming in when they start to see all of this amazing stuff happening and all these additional bonuses that they didn't pay for. They're going to see that the value for your program as being so much higher than what they originally perceived it to be. So when they start to move on to, say, a monthly recurring payment, let's say they paid with you for, say, 3 months up front. When they start to move on to a monthly payment, you're now going to be in a much, much stronger position to be able to encourage them and get them to stay and want to stay with you for a longer period of time. because they're going to be like, wow, what else is going to happen? And another kind of bonus tip to this is you can start to seed future things. For example, let's say you're watching this video at the time of recording in March 2024. What you could do inside your program is say, guys, exciting news. We've got this incredible new system coming in April. And then in May, we're going to do this live event. And then in June, we're going to add this thing, maybe a photo shoot or something a little bit different that you've never done before. That starts to create more future for the guys and girls who are currently inside your program, even more so the ones that have been with you for a little while. So one of the biggest mistakes you can make is just over-promising when you're selling your program. Because if you lead with all of this stuff and you're trying to convince people to work with you, or even worse, trying say how your program is better than someone else's, when they join your program, you've got nothing left in your locker. You've got nothing left to pull out as a tool, as a way to make the experience even more interesting or to get them better results. So like I said, number 2, be careful not to overpromise and then end up looking like you are under-delivering. The third biggest mistakes I see fitness coaches making with their online business is assuming that people are going to stay with them long term and taking this for granted. For example, you have a client come in and join your program, and even if you've talked to them about where they want to be by the summer, but you haven't yet spoken to them about where they want to be this time next year or even 2 years from now, and just assuming that when they've come to their end of their original 3 months that they paid for, that just because you had a conversation about them rolling onto a monthly payment, that you just assume that's just going to happen. But that doesn't always happen. So what you're better off doing is having that conversation well ahead of time. One of the first things you can do is when people join your program, within the first 2 weeks of speaking with them, you want to stretch the gap. For example, they join your program to lose 10 kilos in the next 16 weeks. And then what you do within the first 2 weeks, you say, John, amazing to get you started. You're doing so well on losing the initial 10 kilos. This time next year, we're going to get you your first 6-pack. We're going to get you in the best shape of your life this time next year. So already, just within the first 12 weeks, you're already speaking to people about where they want to be in the next 12 months. So you're starting to stretch that gap, because if they think that gap is too small and they feel like where they are now to where they want to go is too easy to get to on their own, then they have no reason to work with you any longer, and they have no reason to work with you long term. So make sure that if you're just assuming that people are going to stay with you long term, you're probably going to stop giving them as much attention and interest as you did when they first started. Remember that the sale never ends. The sale doesn't end just because they paid you once. The sale doesn't end just because they joined your program. The sale never ends. Like, you're constantly having to resell people on the reason why they should stick around and work with you long term. And one of the easiest ways to do that is stretch that gap. Number 4 of 5 is not asking your clients for feedback and waiting until they leave the program to get the feedback, which is far too late. For example, I've had it before, both personally with clients and also with the guys inside FBC, where what happens is someone shows a problem, they say when they want to leave the program, then they give you this crucial bit of feedback when they leave as the reason why they're leaving. And had you addressed it earlier, you might have actually been able to do something about it. So a solution for this is really simple, that periodically throughout your program, you ask people for a feedback form. I know, crazy simple, right? So at least once a month, or no less than once a quarter, make sure to create an application form on Typeform, Jotform, or Google Forms and send it out to your active clients. Ideally, get them to do this anonymously, but just give them the option to leave their feedback if they feel comfortable doing so. And ask them questions like, how do you find the coaching process? How are you enjoying the calls? Do you feel like you're getting good value for money? Most importantly, would you recommend us to a friend? This should give you all the data, the information, and the ideas you need to improve your program before waiting for someone to leave your program and giving you that crucial bit of feedback. Don't be reactive all the time. Make sure you're as proactive as possible with this. And 5, last but not least, if you want to avoid having to constantly chase after new clients and improve your retention, this mistake is probably the one that I see people make the most, and that's not chasing their clients for their check-ins. And here's why I think this happens. I think there's an ego around coaches when someone joins the program to say, well, they've joined my program and they want my help, so if they want to do their check-in, they do it, and if they don't do it, then they're not serious. Well, let's just think about this logically. If they were like super proactive, if they were people that just like would get up and go, and they didn't need the sort of like accountability, or if they didn't need that extra element of you checking in with them, they probably wouldn't have hired you in the first place. And us as coaches probably wouldn't exist. If everyone was just out there smashing their goals on their own, they wouldn't need us to grow their business. They wouldn't need us to get a six-pack. They wouldn't need us to help them with their relationship or with their life. So I think what happens is fitness coaches get into their ego and they think, oh, people should just do it, and if they want to do it, they'll do it. That's not always the case. You could quite simply have someone that's going through a divorce. They might have someone that's going through like something in their life that is just like so much more important than them doing their weekly check-in. You need to make sure to check in with them and chase them for it. The way I like to go about it is firstly leading with some form of empathy and compassion. For example, if you were to do your check-in with me, I might message you and say, hey John, completely unlike you to not do a check-in. I just want to make sure firstly, is everything okay? Sometimes I've had it where I've asked people if everything's okay, and they've said to me, oh my God, Dan, actually, thanks for asking. I'm going through ABC, mental health issue, physical health issue, something going on in their relationship, something going on at work. Obviously, once you take any of the bigger issues off the table, and if they have just been lazy, of course, hit them with some tough love. Give them that sort of bad cop energy. If you've done the good cop thing by asking a nice question, of course, you're well within your rights to be a bit more harsh and say, come on, you've got to do your check-in. But remind them why their check-ins are so important. If they just see it as a tick box exercise and they can't correlate it back to why doing their check-in is going to get them the result they want, no wonder they're not doing it. You have to attach it, and here's a great way of doing this. The way you can attach the check-in is you can say that our best performing clients, all the guys and girls that you see on our Instagram that have got the best results, all the ones you see in the testimonials and in the transformation photos, are the guys and girls who are regularly doing their check-ins. When you frame it like that, that person who's struggling to lose weight or struggling to build muscle or struggling to get a result is going to think, shit, I've seen those results. They're the results I want. If they check in regularly, then so should I. So those are your 5 mistakes to avoid. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to like the video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be doing more YouTube videos like this over the coming months. And if you've got any suggestions of any videos you want to see on a more regular basis, put them in the comments section below. And one last thing, if you want to book in for a free business strategy session with me, something I don't really do anymore, but I want to kind of give it and honor it to the people watching these videos, just DM me the word YouTube on Instagram at Fitness Business Coaching, followed by the word strategy, and let's get you booked in for a free, no strings attached business strategy session where I'll look over your current struggles, your current goals, and give you a bit of a game plan to work with, free of charge on me, just as a thank you for supporting this video.